Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to give this another shot. I recorded the previous videos I sent out the announcement for, but I did not capture my AutoCAD screen, so they weren't very useful. So um, thanks to Avery for emailing me and letting me know that I goofed up. So we're going to try to do this again. Maybe I'll be able to get it into two videos. Who knows? All right, so let's start off. What we're gonna look at right now is just dimensioning of the cylinder. Right? I thought this was going to be a good demo to do. It's a relatively simple part, although it does have some complexity. But it also has a tolerance and some surface finish, so we can kind of run through that. Um, this is the page from the vacuum engine instruction manual, so we'll be basing our dimensioning on this. Although we're not going to, I've said this several times, and I want to be clear. This dimensioning scheme here is not necessarily the correct dimensioning scheme. Or good dimensioning. There's a lot of issues with this. So if you just regurgitate this, then there's going to be a lot wrong. So we'll try to improve on that. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have my drawing done. Notice here, and we talked about this in class, that I'm doing a half section because I think this is better for showing the inside and the outside of the feature rather than in the original here where we have the left and right view and a front view. So we can clean this up a little bit and show it like this. When we're going to follow our two-step dimensioning procedure. Before we do that, we want to follow or not before we do that, but in addition to that, we want to make sure we follow our annotative workflow for dimensioning, which is online on Canvas. And to do that, after we finish our drawing, get it all situated, right? And that's what we have here. We want to determine what layout we have and get the scale correct. So all of these drawings are going to be on ANSI B. So I'm going to choose ANSI B right there. And we can see the image in here. I can double click inside and kind of see that. But the first thing we got to do is we got to get the scale set. So down here, we're going to go to our scale, and you can see right now we're at a scale of 5:1, which is not appropriate, right? Obviously. So we can try things out. Let's look at 1:1. 1:1 is clearly going to be too small. So next up is 2:1. And 2:1 looks like it's going to be good, right? It's going to give us enough room for the dimensioning around here, enough room for the notes. So we're going to go with 2:1. I'll get it kind of situated in here, although we don't have to get that, perfect right now. And I'm going to lock this. Okay, so we lock it. And then I can go back to my model space, and I want to set this scale also at 2:1, right? This is our annotation scale. The other one was the viewport scale. So we have that all set. We're ready to dimension. So we want to go over to, we want to first of all make sure that we're on the dimension layer, which we are. Then we can go to the annotate ribbon, and we can see all of our tools that we're going to do that. And following our two-step procedure, we're going to dimension first for sizes of individual features. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a diameter dimension in here, and I'm going to dimension these holes right here. So we can pull this off like this, and we'll go down here. Remember that we can always change the location here. But what I'm also going to do here is I'm going to show you how, first we're going to just apply the dimensions, then we're going to refine the dimensions. That is, add tolerances, add notes, all that good stuff. So I just want to get the dimensions out there. I do want to note here, though, that these four holes are the number 2 086 56 right here, 256. That means a number 2 thread, 56 threads per inch, which is an 086 diameter. There's 4 shown here. There's also 4 on the back face, or the front face. Actually, this is the front face. There's 4 on the front face. Plus there's one right here. Those are all the same. So I'm going to go ahead, just as a little reminder, I'm going to double click on that and say 9x space, just so I don't forget anything. Okay, so I got the 9 there. Now moving along, we have another diameter. Let's get this diameter of this hole. This is the bore diameter. So these are, we're just doing sizes right now. We have the length of this, right? The cylinder itself has a length of 1.4, and it has a diameter of 1. All right. Now, remember, we should dimension cylinders in their rectangular view, which I've done here, not in this view. Okay. And just so I don't forget, again, I'm going to go ahead and do %% to get the diameter symbol in there so that I don't forget about that later. All right. So now we got to deal with these ribs in here. So let's understand what's going on. First of all, let's go ahead and take the sizes of the two front and back surfaces, right? So this, we could call this a little cylinder, right? And this a little cylinder as well. So that has a thickness. We've already noted the diameter here. The diameter is 1, so that has a thickness there. And we also need to know this thickness right here, all right? So there we have that, okay? Now, we also need to dimension the ribs, okay, or these fins. These fins have a thickness, right? And this is still a size dimension. And in fact, how many do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can count those. We're going to have 14. So I'm going to double click on this and put 14x space, right? Because there's 14 of those. And let's see, any other size dimensions that we have here? Yes, we have a size dimension for the depth of these, or the height of these fins, however you want to call it, height of the fins right there. Okay, so we'll put that right there. All right, and I think that's it for our size dimensions. Okay, so moving along to the location dimensions, all right, we need to locate these 4 holes, or in fact these 9 holes or 8 holes right there. Okay, now this is something that's maybe we need to be a little bit careful with. Okay, and we're getting a little bit picky here, but I'm going to show you. This is actually how picky you need to be. So first of all, we need an angle, right? Because we don't know the orientation of these, and in fact they're 45 degrees. Now if these were already drawn on the north, south, east, and west center marks, then that would be the location by definition. But since they're not, we need to tell how far they're around. We also need to know what the diameter of the bolt circle is, all right, and it's 844. I pulled that dimension out there so that I could add it to this. Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky, all right. If we were applying geometric dimensioning and tolerancing, then what I'm about to do, we could not do, okay. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So here, we want to add this 844 on here. So the way to do this is we go into our notation, and we want to say 9 of these holes are arranged equal space, right? That's the abbreviation for equal space on a %C 844 BC. BC is the standard abbreviation for bolt circle, right? And in fact, I'm going to get rid of this because I'll go ahead and change this to the thread note. This should be a 0.086 parentheses number 2 dash 56 UNC dash 2B. Thank you, Avery, for correcting me on that before. That is, in fact, a 2B. And we talked about including both the number 2 and the 086 because I think it's prudent. I'm going to take that, no, let's leave that space in there. All right, now here's where the error is. Let me go ahead and close this. Okay, so here's where the error is. Actually, 8 of these holes follow this dimensioning scheme, right? These 4 here and these 4 on this side. This 9th one is not at oriented at 45 degrees. It's not on a 844 bolt circle. Okay, so I can get rid of this. So in fact, this dimension is wrong. And if we were doing geometric dimensioning and tolerancing and putting a feature control frame under this with a positional tolerance, this would be wrong. So the way to fix this is like this. 8 holes are actually following this dimensioning scheme right there. Okay, this 9th one, you know, I'm sorry to say, we got to dimension that with a note like this. All right, and we can pull that out there. Really, the way I've drawn it, you can only go down, but I think there's room there. And then we can double click in here, and we can do that. We can say 0.086 parentheses number 2 dash 56 UNC dash 2B. Okay, and we go like that, and then there we go. All right, so let's continue on with the location dimensions. So what else do we need to locate? Well, we need to locate where the ribs start, and the ribs start according to the diagram here. The ribs start really on this side right here. Now, how do we know that? Well, they're telling you right here, this is 0.09, which we have, but notice that this one is a reference dimension. That means that that's really going to be, you know, plus or minus an unknown amount based on the tolerance accumulation as we start here and make this all the way going here. So this dimension right here, we have a choice. We actually need to make that, we either need to get rid of that dimension on our drawing or we need to make it a reference dimension. I'm going to make it a reference dimension just so I can show you how to do that. We double click on this and we make it a reference dimension by putting it in parentheses. All right, so now that's our slop right there. So we need to add a linear dimension here, and I'm going to go just like this, and you'll see that this is going to be kind of sloppy and messed up. 0.050. Okay, now at this point we could also, or we need to also mention how many of these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there's 15 of these, 15x space. All right. Now, I may move that later because I don't like the way it's right in that arrow, so I can move it up here. You know, I can move it. But right now, it's just really getting it onto the screen. Okay. So let's see. I have everything here. We need to locate this hole, right? So so we'll give a dimension from here to here, and we'll pull it out like that. All right, so that's located. Oh, you know what? I made a little boo-boo. Let me show you what I did over here in our drawing. I forget about this. These are actually 0.047. The first one is 050. The rest of them are 0.047. Okay, so I need to take this 15 times off because that's actually only once. Whoops. Okay. And this is going to be 14 times 0.047. There we go. That's better. You can see this is starting to get messy, so I'm definitely going to have to move some of these dimensions around. And I think that's it. Okay. So I think I have all my dimensions on there. I can move them around in the next video, but right now I'm going to stop this. All right, and we'll pick up where we left off, and we'll move these around, and we'll add the tolerances and the surface finish symbols. All right, till then.